Stream is live.
While we're waiting, there we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Smack Talk.
Wow.
My name is Mac Davis. I am your host for this week, just the guest host this week, along with, of course, Mr. Dutch Mantell. How you doing, Dutch?
I'm doing good.
I'm loving that hat.
We need to tell the people
we got a diploma too, don't you?
I do have a diploma. This is my official University of Dutch hat. That as soon as I order some more, they will be for sale. So, and I also have for those, it's the official University of Dutch diploma. And I've said this before, when you talk in wrestling with somebody, then they say, well, where did you get your degree in wrestling? Show them the University of Dutch PhD in the wrestling arts for sale right now. And if you want to know how to get them, just email me. As soon as I get my website up, which I've been saying for about 2 years, as soon as I get my website up and going, I'll reply to you. But Dirty Dutch Mantell with 2 L's at gmail.com.
There you go. Get that diploma because you need it. It's a great Christmas gift, come to think of it, Dutch.
It is. I may even gift myself.
You should.
The diploma. Oh, yeah, it's good. So I make them myself. So, you know, I'm totally responsible for them. So, Mac, we're going to talk about this show tonight. So what do you think?
We are, but before we get into SmackDown, Dutch, I got to ask you a question because I saw something in the last week that I got to get your thoughts on, how you felt about it. I tuned into the NWA pay-per-view.
You did?
During that pay-per-view, did you have a chance to see that, Dutch?
I didn't see the pay-per-view, but I think I saw what you're talking about.
Yes,
and I've been in this business. I've been in this business for years and years and years. And I'm going to truthfully say I've never seen anything like this. And if you haven't seen it, you can look it up. Or, Mac, do we have it here?
Yes. Well, we were told that we did, but I don't see it anywhere for us to pull from. But it is available. It is out there. It's a cocaine spot with James Mitchell at the table. What appears to be him snorting coke and passing it around to other people at the table. Dutch, when I first saw that, I was kind of stunned. Even the announcers, when the announcers were trying to describe what was taking place, it looked like a train wreck. I have no idea what the purpose was. Now, I'd understand maybe a little bit more if there was some type of a storyline that was attached to, but it was just kind of thrown in there like, hey, let's go to Father James Mitchell and see what he's doing, and he's snorting coke off of a table. It was the oddest thing I think I have ever seen in professional wrestling. Well,
I've never seen it, and it kind of shocked me too. And I was watching it and going, who in the F came up with this? Because I don't care who's the boss. If I was the booker, I don't think I would have the balls to go up to the owner of the company and say, hey, I got this great idea for a segment. Why don't we show a bunch of guys sitting around the table and they're all snorting coke? Wouldn't that be great? I'd be fired probably the next 2 minutes. So, which leaves the question, whose idea was this? I don't think it was Jim Mitchell. Mm-mm. And I don't think, do they have a booker other than Billy Corgan?
Billy is the one, as it's been reported in the last week, is the one who actually came up with the idea. It was Billy Corgan's idea. And what makes it even more concerning, though, Dutch, is the fact that Billy announced that they had a new TV deal coming up, and that, this is a big deal for the NWA getting their face on TV again. And I'm not so sure anymore that they're going to be on TV. Now I'm hearing it may all end up being on the app and not on the actual TV itself.
Well, as soon as they showed that cocaine spot, I read that they wrapped things up with the WWE. to put WWE on. Now, is NXT going there, or is SmackDown going there? Or what are they doing? They're talking about going so many places. It's got me confused. I don't even know where they're going.
NXT is going over to CW.
To CW.
Yeah, it seems that CW is making a big deal about wrestling now because they got several different wrestling programs that they've approached that they plan on carrying. And of course, NXT was announced, as you mentioned, just after that cocaine spot, and after CW got so much feedback from that moment of the pay-per-view that they announced the WWE NXT addition to their network. It was really it was unexpected. I have to wonder how some of the talent must have felt watching that take place during the show. If you're in the back, let me ask you, Dutch, if you're in the back and you're one of the guys and you see this pop up on the screen in the back and you're watching, what are you thinking at that moment?
Well, the same thing I thought when I first saw it. Like, what the hell are they doing? Now, I didn't look at it, and I never thought I would see that. That's almost a joke. The wrestlers used to joke around all the time and said, wow, man, we need to show these people what goes on behind the scenes that they don't see. Well, Billy took it right out there and showed everybody. So let me ask you this. What do you think was his motivation for that? Any idea?
I really don't know, Dutch. And that's the confusing part to me because like I said, if there was some kind of a storyline that was attached to that made sense for why he was snorting coke, and even then, I don't know what kind of storyline you could do, but it was just kind of out there. There was nothing really to it other than watching James snort coke with the people around the table. It was just an odd moment. It felt like somebody took some other show and just dropped it into the pay-per-view for a second and then left it alone again. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, to be honest with you.
The announcers, apparently, they had to know it was coming, but they were still at a loss for words to even describe it. I don't know.
I'm looking at some of the guys on that. I'm looking at some of the announcers, and I'm thinking, you got Tim up there, Tim Storm, and you're wondering what's going through his mind and how is he supposed to explain what he's watching to the viewers. And it felt like it was uncomfortable for everybody, but the person that came up with it. And that's not a good thing because you don't want that to be something that you're remembered for an entire pay-per-view is a cocaine spot.
Well, that's what they'll be remembered for. Because that was the most that thing was outstood everything else. If you don't remember nothing else of what happened on it, you'll remember the cocaine spot. It will go down in wrestling history. And I'm going to tell you, they didn't show it one time. They went back to it 2 more times. So, yes. And I don't know the point they were trying to make. There was no reason for it, really. They just showed it.
Yeah, and that like I say, that's just totally confused me. It left me just stunned, actually. I didn't know what to say, what to do. I'm watching it just as from the aspect of television production and the show itself, and I'm thinking, man, we have just shot ourselves in the foot. This was a mistake. I understand taking chances, but that was a chance, I think, that was unnecessary.
And it wasn't even in the back. It was right out in the audience.
Yeah.
So anyway, draw your own conclusion. I would like to have been a fly on the wall when some of those messages was coming into the CW network. I
have seen reports today, Dutch, just the latest update of that there seems to be some talent right now that are not happy with what happened and are now looking to leave the NWA because of that particular spot of the show.
Well, good luck. So I don't know. I was uncomfortable with it because there's no upside to it unless you have the police come in on the next show and arrest everybody around that table and take them out and put them in the car. Now that's attaching a story to it. So I don't know.
By the way, I do want to let our viewers know, if you notice there's a little bit of a delay with Dutch and I, we're having some delay issues for some reason. We've tried to fix it, but it's just not happening. So we're doing the best that we can. Dutch, let's talk about, first of all, your two co-hosts you normally have. They're not here today, and I want to explain to everybody, they're not gone. They're just gone this week. I'm just filling in for tonight. But any idea where your two cohorts are tonight?
I think one is sick. And I think the other one had a minor emergency, Sid, I think. But I haven't heard anything from them. I just heard that they would not be here. And then they announced my good friend Mac would join me. And that kind of uplifted me a little bit. So,
oh, that's a good thing.
We're going to do that. We're going to do the show no matter what.
That's right. Let's get
started.
The very first part of the show, Dutch, I really got to get your feelings on this. We open up with Kevin Owens. He's announced as the guest commentator for the show of the evening, and he's filling in for Corey Graves, who's out with the birth of his new daughter.
That's an upgrade.
Congratulations to him. And
that's an upgrade to take Corey Graves away from that table.
Yes,
he's the most. I don't want to say anything bad about him, but he's just boring. And at least Kevin Owens said something tonight that was relevant. I mean, Corey Graves doesn't ever say anything.
Kevin Owens actually, and I got a note in here to talk about it a little bit later. We can talk about it now. But during the show, I thought Kevin was actually quite comical at times. It kind of added something fresh to the show tonight.
Yes, he did.
I did feel like tonight's show was a little weak, mainly because I don't know if it's because they just got back from Saudi Arabia. They're trying to do the best they can with the show, with who they have that's available. But I felt it was okay. But the beginning, let me go over this real quick and we'll kind of talk about it. But after Kevin Owens comes out, the LWO comes in behind him to the ring for a promo. Rey Mysterio addressing the crowd and saying that at Crown Jewel, Logan Paul won the U.S. championship only because of the brass knucks, and he doesn't think
great match. Great match too. Great match.
Yes, you're talking about the one at Crown Jewel. Yes, the Crown Jewel match was absolutely incredible. I've said this from the get-go. Logan Paul, love him or hate him, he gives everything he has in every single match I've seen him involved in. I'm really high on Logan Paul. I think he's one of those refreshing talent that just it breathes out of him. You can tell it's just natural for him to do a lot of things because he's doing things on a limited schedule, really, Dutch, that is pretty phenomenal for somebody like that, and a guy who really has no background in professional wrestling. What did you think about Logan Paul?
Oh, for a guy, for a guy with no more experience than he has, you can't tell it. He could hang with the veterans. And one of the things I noticed during the pay-per-view from Saudi Arabia, and I'm glad they got back because they having a war over there now.
Yes.
I would hate to go to Saudi Arabia amidst all that. But Ray did a dive from the outside into the ring, and he was short with it. And Logan Paul dipped under him, caught him, or I don't know. I don't think he would have gotten hurt, but he could have. But he actually saved him an injury, is what it looked like to me. So that's what you're supposed to do if your opponent.
It was actually.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that they did show where Logan Paul dropped in to save him, hit his knees, which was also kind of dangerous for Logan Paul because he's had some knee surgeries and he hit those two knees hard down on that mat, catching Ray to make sure that his head didn't plant into the mat, which was really scary. They do show and they say that maybe Logan Paul was a little too far back for that move and he had to move in to get Ray because he was too far back. No matter whatever happens, he saved Ray's ass.
He saved him. He sure did. I agree. And he had the knowledge to step forward and grab him.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Now, Ray, of course, comes out. He's moaning that without those brass knucks, Logan Paul never would have won that championship. Then Santos gets involved with Carlito, who comes out. It seemed like they added a lot of things in this particular area that could have been trailed back. It felt like a lot of talk in the beginning. I was like, we covered several different topics all in one, break here. And I came up through radio. Maybe this is different in wrestling, but I've always believed in one thought per break, or stay focused on one thing during the break, because if you start throwing in a lot, people are going to get confused as to what the message actually is supposed to be.
Well,
you agree with that?
Tonight was angle night. Every match seemed like it had an angle in it, which I kind of like, because you don't expect all that. But Carlitos came off and stooged off. What's the guy's name?
Santos. I'm sorry.
Escobar. I've been hit on the head a couple 100,000 times. And then he left, and that started the whole deal going. And then and then the Street Profits came out, right?
Yep, Street Profits were
and
out.
They had a match. They had a match, and they beat Rey, right?
Yes. They at the end of it, what happened was Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits cheated their way basically to a win, and that brought out who was it? Escobar comes back out trying to help Rey, which
he comes back
they
out.
get in a tiff at the end of the match after Rey loses, and Rey and Escobar, of course, are going at it. Yes, and it just got to the point where he was just took enough, and he told Rey, "I love you," but he beat the snot out of Rey, and just the whole time saying, "I love you. You are my hero." Which you kind of saw that was coming eventually. But they finally pulled the trigger, and we got to see it tonight. But all hell broke loose ringside, and which I thought was, for what it was good.
Well, you can look at the clock and tell how long. See, that first match went how long? It went from the opening segment to the half hour, right?
Yeah, in fact, we only had, I got a note here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it for you real quick. That I think it was an hour and 15 minutes that we went through that show with only one match. One match. I think the entire night we had 3 matches, if I'm not mistaken, Dutch. Only 3 matches during the entire night. That's where I think we got a little talk heavy on SmackDown tonight. I enjoyed some of it, but it was really heavy on talk and not so much on the action. Although there were some great moments.
Yeah, there was. I think this is a memorable SmackDown because they busted some angles. Now they have all that to work from. Sometimes you have to have, I call this a maintenance show because they're setting up for the future. What's the next pay-per-view?
Oh, Lord.
Is that in January or no?
No. I think we have one coming up in just a few weeks, if I'm not mistaken here, Dutch. I think is it the Royal Rumble that's coming up, guys? I
think that's watching. January.
I see the notes off to the side. What pay-per-view is coming up here?
Oh yeah, I forget. I really
we got
do.
one coming up.
Not Royal Rumble.
My biggest thing again, and I can look it up real quick and tell you. We're in no hurry here. Our listeners will tell us. Survivor Series War Games. Thank you. Somebody just sent that. Thank you, John.
Thank you very much. Don't expect to check. We're not paying you. They don't even pay us.
We don't get paid either. But
I'm looking forward to that. I actually enjoyed the show. That first match, though, with Bobby Lashley and Carlito, that was, to me, very boring. They slowed it down. And
yes.
How old is Bobby Lashley? 40? Or do you know?
Bobby's got to be in his late 40s, I would imagine.
Late 40s?
Maybe.
How old is Carlito? Carlito's got to be 40, doesn't he?
Yeah, they're both about the same age. Maybe Carlito's a little bit older than Bobby. Yeah, Bobby may be in his early to mid 40s, actually.
But anyway, I thought that kind of drug a little bit to the end, and then They cranked it up a little bit. So, but I will give the whole show tonight. I will give it like a B, because it was decent.
What did you think of
what I think of what?
I was going to ask you, what did you think about the ladies' promo segment in the ring?
Decent, but it was too long. It drug a little bit.
Yes. Again,
but
in
seeing the match,
like
though,
a little talk heavy. The action was good. I enjoyed the different parts of the show, especially the Dragon Lee guy that came out with the mask on. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
that match was just incredible, and even the fans were yelling, "This is awesome!" And it was.
They kicked ass. And what's that guy he worked with? Cedric Alexander.
That was Cedric Alexander. Yeah, they
damn that son of a gun's got it. I mean, I think they had a match last week too.
They had one recently. This was a rematch again. Yes,
but it was very, very good. And even the fans, and they hardly ever do this at a TV taping or at SmackDown, they were saying this is awesome. So, I mean, they didn't say that back in the day when I worked.
That in the WWE.
Nope, you don't. But they worked their butts off. But again, the high spot to me is Kevin Owens being on commentary, because he added a lot to it. What they don't have in WWE, they got rid of the color guys like Lawler.
Yes.
And Bobby Heenan, how good was he? And Jesse Ventura, Jim Cornette. Those guys could say something. Not only could you enjoy the match, you could enjoy the commentary. But all three of them, with when they were out there, they were just talking about the match and what happened. Well, hell, the fans can see what happened. Give me a color guy to give me the background why this is going on. That's kind of funny, kind of cute, and you're entertained even by the talking.
Yeah, I do miss the color commentary of like Jerry the King Lawler. I miss those jokes because he had the ability, and a lot of those color guys have the ability to make a mundane match interesting. Because if that match is off on the ring, you need somebody out there that can still maintain this momentum of the show, even though the match may not be doing that for them. So I agree. I totally missed that, and I thought Kevin Owens did a great job. I loved it when he got involved with Grayson Waller during his match with LA.
Oh, that was good.
I really started popping for Kevin during the show. It's just you got too many sparkles on your gear, that kind of stuff. All great stuff, So.
Well, when they poured the water on his head and he sat there and they give him time to leave, then he said something, and then he took off. That was good.
I thought it was funny too, because he said he left because they threw an empty bottle at his announcing friend, an empty plastic bottle.
At his partner, and it offended him. They shouldn't do it, and he took off. I like the tie around his neck.
Yes, I thought that was funny.
That to me is being a character, and he was like the highlight of the whole match. I mean, they had a good match, but him adding the comments in added a lot to the whole show tonight.
Well, let's talk about LA Knight for a moment here, Dutch. LA Knight losing to Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel. And tonight, it seems like he's picking the ball back up and still running with it. I think a lot of people weren't sure where we were going to go with LA Knight after the pay-per-view. Are you happy with what direction he seems to be moving in?
LA Knight has been the topic of conversation. And people ask me, do you think that LA Knight will beat Roman Reigns? And not to be crude or rude, I said, not no, but hell no. Remember how long it took the WWE to concentrate on Roman Reigns and getting him over. It took 3 years, and they are not willing to risk a 3-year investment on a guy, nothing against him, on a guy that's unproven. And LA Knight is unproven. Yeah, he's over with the people, but you can't, if you put the belt on him, I can't imagine where they would go with that at all. But, and I watched the match. Did you see the match in Saudi Arabia?
Does he? He doesn't need a belt, though, does he?
No, not really. He just needs to challenge.
Yeah, I
and,
saw the
and
match
he's got
in Saudi
a lot
Arabia.
of.
I thought he did a great job.
But there was something missing in that match. I mean, the people weren't popping for LA Knight like they do in the States, but something was missing in that match because Roman, he was playing to the crowd about half the time.
Yes.
But LA Knight, see, I think this is what I think. He had a pretty long match tonight. I think they need to get away from the long matches with LA Knight and give him those like 5-minute deals, get him over, and then run him. Now, but see, he's got other opponents. Him and Logan Paul would make a hell of a match.
Yes.
Him and even Jason Waller and his partner, because he's punched both of them. Not him, I mean, but no, he punched. But I'm thinking about Kevin Owens. But they would be great opponents for him. So he's got opponents, but you keep running him against Roman, which they're not going to do. I mean, they run the risk of disinterest from the fans. But they're going to have to put a belt on him somewhere along the line to keep him over. But talking about the match they had in Saudi Arabia, in my eyes, I've seen better TV matches than that match because it really didn't have something. Again, I'm going to go back. Something was missing in that match, but I can't pinpoint it. I think the people wanted to watch and maybe not scream so much because I think they kind of knew the finish anyway. They didn't want to get too invested in it because they knew that he wasn't going to win. I hate to say that, but that's the nature of wrestling.
Let me ask you, while we're talking about Roman Reigns and LA Knight, of course, not dethroning Roman, who do you think inside WWE needs to be the person to dethrone Roman Reigns?
Well, it looks like Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes, and I've said this on another interview I did. Cody Rhodes, when he broke his shoulder, it was actually beneficial to him, even though he had a bad injury, because that gave the WWE time for Endeavor to take over the company and for Vince to be kind of moved over. So he was out for 8 or 9 months where all you heard about him is he's coming back. He's coming back. And then when he did get back, of course, they run him against. He had a match with Roman before he got hurt or after. Remember?
Yes.
Can you remember that?
Yeah, it was before, I believe, Roman, right?
Okay. But while he was gone, I think the people got to want you back. And I think they wanted him back. They really did. And he come back. Now they have a idea in their head that they want to go with Cody because they wanted him to do talk a lot about Dusty, his father, when he was in AEW, and he wouldn't do it. He refused to be in certain angles. And that tells me that he was saving it for WWE. Now, he lost the first match against Roman. He may lose the second. But that's part of hard times. Isn't that the bottom essence of his push? Hard times, like his father. And he's got to have hard times. And I think finally when they do put it on him, I think Roman takes a break. And by that time, now you got this heel coming along that I really, really like, Gunther. And I think they can put him against Cody and still do business. big time business. And then Roman gets away, and then he comes back fresh. So they got the ball rolling.
Now, what about the rumors? What about the rumors of Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania? Do you think that should have happened, and have The Rock take that belt? I mean,
but that kind of went away, didn't it? He made that appearance.
Sure, it's gotten quiet, but I don't think it's gone away.
Well, I think they haven't even alluded to that. I think they would have alluded to it more by now. But that is the ultimate WrestleMania, I think, because I think Roman wants to do something that's never been done before. I think this would be the biggest WrestleMania they ever could have if they go with The Rock and Roman Reigns. Now,
I agree. I think that's big box office. I think that'll put asses in seats, and I don't see another matchup outside of those two that really have that kind of a draw. I mean, you could announce that match, and they would be sold out the next day.
Yep, I think they'd be sold out that same day. They really would. I mean, especially those. No, it would just sell out. If you can order tickets online, I think you'd have to wait to even order the tickets. A few minutes anyway.
Yeah,
and I would be interested. I would be interested in seeing that match.
I would
because
too.
When's the last time Rock had a match?
The last time that I remember a match of that magnitude that I wanted to see was Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. I think that was number 18, maybe WrestleMania 18. But just that was a match that was really exciting to watch. It was big. I think Rock's getting to an age right now where, you know, his ability to perform on a high level in the ring is becoming slimmer and slimmer of chances of him doing that. So he doesn't need to wait another year or 5 years down the road to try to come back and do one last match. The match with Roman Reigns would be the match for both of them, really, to cap their careers.
Well, I think The Rock. When is WrestleMania? In April?
April, yeah.
That's 6 months from now, correct?
Correct.
So it would probably take him 6 months to get in like ring shape. He may be spending all this time getting ready. So we'll see if they did that. And if I was Endeavor, I was the head of Endeavor. I mean, you know, Vince is not the head of it anymore. But if I was Triple H, I'd say book it if you can. I would book it. And that's the biggest you can go. I don't even care what the other matches are. It would sell out with just that match.
I agree. And there's a lot of other things they could do with Cody without having to be in that match. I really felt like Cody's chance was really at the last WrestleMania. That's where I really thought Cody had the opportunity. I'm not so sure that I'm as behind that run as much as I was before that match. But that can all change. You give me a storyline I can really bite into, give me some real heat that causes me to want to watch it more, and I could get behind it. But right now, I feel like he's kind of in a holding pattern in a lot of ways, waiting to see which direction he's actually going to go.
Well, he is. He's in a holding pattern because they don't know.
I know we're running out of time here because I know we're getting out of time here. But
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was listening to you. I'm delayed. I'm delayed anyway, so I'm waiting on you. Any questions?
For those watching, we are having delay issues tonight, so just bear with us. But let me ask you, Dutch, about the final match of the night, and that was the ladies in a six-woman tag team match. What were your thoughts on that match as they closed out SmackDown tonight?
Loved the finish. Yes. I love the finish when Bianca went for the tag, and zip, she got the shorthand.
Yeah, Asuka would not tag.
Oh, man. And then went in there, and then the Japanese girls and all, they had a reunion. And then they got Bayley in there, and Bayley was leery. She was leery going in there because, she didn't see it coming. But It was very good.
Yep.
I like a show that really turns things around. This show tonight turned everything on its head. Now creative can go in. Excuse my voice. Creative can go in or with the whole slate, and they probably already booked next week and the week after that anyway.
Yep.
But they did execute it very well tonight. So my hats off to Paul and the creative team. Good job.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the match. I thought that the Asuka surprise at the end with the mist, it came out of nowhere, which I did not expect it, and that's when wrestling's fun. When something happens you don't expect, that's when wrestling is done right. So.
Yep.
Let's say, Dutch, we're out of time for this week. Anything you got coming up we need to talk about?
Well, if you're interested in my hat, the University of Dutch official hat, write me at Dirty Dutch Mantell at gmail.com with 2 L's, Mantell with 2 L's, and the official University of Dutch diploma. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? How was that?
It does look good.
Thank you very much. So write me at same Gmail email address, Dirty Dutch Mantell with 2 L's, gmail.com, and I'll get right back to you. So what happened to our two co-hosts tonight? What happened to what happened to Rick? He had to work?
I have no idea. Got a call at the last minute saying, "Hey, are you available tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So when they told me who I was working with, I was like, "Yeah, that's no problem at all." So
okay. Well, I apologize to everybody for the delay. And if you think it's frustrating for you guys listening, it is really frustrating for us because we don't know what's coming or anything, but we apologize and glad you sat through it. Enjoyed myself. Any closing thoughts, Mr. Mack?
I want to mention real quick. I got a Roland Curtis sent in a message that I guess he's paid some money for. So let's make sure we ask this question. He says, "You guys are the best experts to ask this. Similar to the gimmick of the Samoans being impervious to head attacks, shouldn't all these Japanese wrestlers, Asuka, Nakamura, Io Sky, Kerry Sane, shouldn't they all do the mist?"
If they all do the mist, that makes the one that actually does it, it doesn't make her special anymore.
Correct.
Because if anybody can do it, and then you get to thinking, well, hell, if they can do it, why would an American figure that out?
Yeah.
And why wouldn't they throw the mist or something like that? No, I think this one Japanese girl, and I will say one thing, those Japanese girls stand out. Their outfits are just, it fits them. And
yes,
plus they're very, very good in the ring. And again, I enjoyed the show tonight. And how long did the show go? How long did that show go? You think 30 minutes?
Our show, about almost 40 minutes. We're coming up on 40 minutes.
How long did the SmackDown go? What was the longest match on SmackDown tonight? The first one?
I did not time it, but I would say that was probably the LA Knight match. It seemed like it dragged on a little bit long to me.
Okay. LA Knight, I think he has to start back now getting himself all over again, because now they don't know. I think his match with Roman may have hurt him more than they think. So we'll see where they go. I think he still has it, but they got to put him with the right opponent. And that's what they're looking for right now.
Dutch, I enjoyed it, my friend. I'm sorry that we had the delays because, as you say, excuse me, it is kind of hard to have a conversation when you're talking on top of each other constantly. You don't know what the person's actually hearing, but I've enjoyed it. I look forward to doing this again in the future. Anytime they tell me that you need a co-host and somebody to fill in, I will always pop in and be here with you because I enjoy our conversations. This has been Smack Talk. I'm Mac Davis. That is Dirty Dutch Mantell. And you'll see him and the other guys again next week, same time, same place, right here on Sportskeeda. Make sure you go down there and please subscribe, because anytime you hit that subscribe button and you know as soon as we drop anything, it will come into your notifications and let you know that we're live or on the air. So we'll see you next week.
We the people.